we don't need roads.
Chicago obviously has no shortage of legends who are synonymous with our city. I was wondering, which Chicago legend would you love to have guest star on this show? But more importantly, how do you think Diane would interact with them?
Oh, wow. That's a fantastic question. Woo!
Oh, I mean,
That's such a good question.
I think the great thing, because I lived in Chicago for 2 years, I was on the Second City main stage there. And so for me, like my Chicago touchstones are all kind of from the Second City world and the heavy hitters of the comedy world, certainly. And so it's just so hard to say. I feel like I
picture her at Second City looking at the wall and going like, I've had him.
Yep.
I've had him.
banged him, tried to bang him, said no. Yeah, exactly.
Listen, I'm going to go Mike Ditka because I think he's the ultimate. For Diane, she would worship. I mean, when the Bears won the Super Bowl in '85, that was like her top of the mountain peak. So I'm going Mike Ditka.
Oprah. 100%. I know she's wasn't born and raised there, but come on, Chicago is her city. And I think that Daniel's going to need advice that isn't coming from his Chicago party aunt, and that's going to have to come from Oprah at some point.
Right now, Netflix is behind the scenes going, yep, Oprah,
yeah.
Oprah sounds good. Oprah
Make the call, Netflix.
Michelle Obama.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh.
I think she would drop dead. I think she would just be like, "You're so beautiful," and just drop dead.
Like bucket list, Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan. I mean, that's the answer.
If it's someone that Diane would actually interact with, I could see her having a one night stand with AJ Brzezinski. I could see something like that happening. That'd be more Diane's speed. He's a bad boy. She's a bad girl. There is no way.
The episode where she has a one night stand with MJ.
I mean, he might be tough to get. Let's put it this way. We're going to try to get MJ for this episode. If he's unavailable, we'll get Brzezinski.
I genuinely am so curious about the answer to this next question. I want to talk about the pop culture version of the Chicago accent, because my mind automatically goes to the extremes and goes to SNL and the Bears. And I know obviously a lot of people with the show are from Chicago. So I'm curious, what is the balance of getting the voice of Chicago just right, but also making sure that it's not a bit?
That's a great question. I think it's Chicago is in our bones because we all spent so much time there. And so I think we've just sponged up so many different people's tones that I think all the creative people involved in this project really know how to hit that without making it sound too, cartoony.
I think that was part of the discovery for me, for sure, because having lived there and being immersed in it, we all know that it doesn't sound like the Bears. I mean, there are a certain, faction of Chicagoans, perhaps,
yeah.
perhaps,
Dims and does.
They have the dis and the dat. But I think that was really part of it. And I had kind of conversations early on being how far into the, Chicago, SNL stuff do you want me to go? And then it's really just kind of finding about where it should lay. So that was definitely something that was always a conversation. It's certainly for me. And as we were recording and where we felt like we should maybe push it and maybe where we shouldn't, trying to make it sound realistic, but it's also a cartoon too, right? So you're also kind of playing an animated character, which has a little bit more leeway than if we were doing a live show where, that would sound potentially, almost offensive.
For sure.
I think the perfect Chicago accent is me after 3 vodkas.
Exactly.
So go ahead. I've got time if you want to try to go ahead and chug those down.
Meet me later and you'll get to hear this. It'll take 20 minutes. You'll get to hear the rest.
And how do you know she hasn't already had 3 vodkas this morning?
That's very true.
Because I'm not talking like a monster.
Yeah, I think I always go think about our dad, who has just a beautiful Chicago accent. I think the character is pork, gotta get the Bears, which that exists. But if you kind of play it a little more subtle, and you kind of hit a little bit of, I told him no, but he didn't do it. You know what I mean? It is actually can be very, very, not how I just said actually, which sounded horrible, but it can actually be a very soothing kind of melodic accent when applied properly.
Yeah, like if Dennis Farina is going to read a book on tape, I'll fall asleep to it.
I would read any book. He could read the Bible. He could read the phone book. Anything with Farina is the ultimate quintessential perfect Chicago accent.
And as we wrap up this final question, I have to be honest, is a little bit of a sore subject for me. The Chicago Party Aunt often tweets about having affections and feelings and attractions toward many on-air television personalities here in Chicago, whether it be meteorologists or reporters. She's never once looked my way. So I'm just sort of curious from your perspective, like what am I doing wrong so that Diane just clearly is not attracted to me?
I think Jake, you might be too hot for Diane. She likes guys who have lived a rough life.
Yeah.
I think she thinks she can't get you, Jake. She looks at you and she's like, this guy's too young, he's too handsome, it's not even worth it. But if we do another season, there's going to be a storyline, a love story between you two, and you're going to get your due, my friend.
Screw Titanic. That's the love story of a generation.
That's the love story. That's the one.
Give the people what they want. Oh, my hair with her animation. Could you imagine?
Oh, it's perfect. It's perfect. It's going to happen.
Right now, like the lawyers and Netflix behind the scenes are going, I don't know about that. I don't know. Like
we are committed, but we'll talk. We'll discuss.
Jake, I think Diane's just like old school, and you're a next generation. You're a young man, and she'll get to you.
And and don't let her viewing preferences make you think that she's tuned away from you. I think that she just hasn't tuned in yet. But I've made a note.
If you guys don't get Oprah for season 2, available.
All right.
At rate.
All right.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.